G'day, you're with Slate and Jury, and this is the 3CIR podcast, where we take the real skills you've built through service and turn them into real opportunities on the outside. I'm Joel Slate Cairns, former Army, and I still iron my shirts like I'm about to get inspected.
And I'm Ryan Jury Delaney, also ex-military, and my socks are still rolled the same way, mate, so some habits die hard. If you're new here, this show's all about growth, leadership, resilience, figuring out your next move without losing who you are.
That's the heartbeat of 3CIR. We were founded by veterans, for veterans, and for anyone in emergency services or just changing gears in life. Everything we do is built on 5 tenets: courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, and respect. Not just a poster on the wall. It's how we work and how we show up for you. And
today, we're getting into something close to home: Defence RPL, a recognition of prior learning. Sounds official, right? But we're going to break it down so it feels like common sense, because it is. You've done the work. RPL is how you prove it and get credit for it.
Right out the gate, let's talk about this. Shifting from barracks to boardroom. That's not just a catchy line, it's the reality a lot of ADF folks face. You've got years of hard-won experience, but trying to translate that into civilian speak can feel like trying to order breakfast in a language you only half remember.
It's like you can run a logistics op in your sleep, but then a job ad says supply chain optimization, and you think, okay, sure, that's moving stores, deconflicting routes, managing vendors, which you did during an exercise with 3 time zones and a busted forklift. The skill is there. The paperwork, that's where RPL comes in.
Exactly. Defence RPL is the bridge. It looks at your military training, your quals, your on-the-job gigs, and it maps them against nationally recognized civilian qualifications. Instead of you starting from scratch, you convert what you've already done into something employers recognize on site.
And honestly, this is where 3CIR shines, because not every provider gets what a section commander actually did. If you've been in, you know the difference between a course and the lived experience of making things happen outside the wire. 3CIR is built by people who've worn the uniform, so the translation is accurate, respectful, and useful. That matters.
Before we go too deep, quick check-in. If you're listening on a commute or on the rower at the gym, stick with us. We'll keep it tight. We're going to cover 3 big things: why RPL matters, what the journey with 3CR looks like, and the real benefits you can bank. Time, money, confidence. And later we'll open the kit bag on evidence. What counts, what doesn't, and how to fill gaps without jumping through flaming hoops.
Love a good open loop, Slate. You dangled the evidence carrot and now everyone's ears perked. But first, can we talk about the feeling side of this? Because transition isn't just paperwork. It can mess with your identity. You spend years being Sergeant so-and-so or leading seaman this and that, and then suddenly you're just Ryan on a Monday morning trying to update LinkedIn.
Been there. And it's why RPL is more than a box-ticking exercise. It's acknowledgement. It says, that decade of ops, those nights planning contingencies, those leadership calls you had to make, they count. They convert into qualifications that speak the civilian language. Confidence isn't fluff, it's fuel. When that first recruiter asks, so, what are your quals? And you can say, Diploma of Leadership and Management, or Cert Ivor in Security and Risk, the conversation changes.
Let's jump into why RPL matters in practical terms. Number 1, saving time and money. No one wants to sit through a full course on risk assessment if they've done risk matrices more times than they've had hot dinners. With Defence RPL, your experience can shorten study time. You might still need a subject or 2 to round it out, but you're not relearning what you already live and breathe.
I had a mate who was a signals corporal. On paper, civilian employers saw corporal. After RPL, he had nationally recognized qualifications to show project coordination, comm systems, WHS components, the works. He went from tell me about your military experience to you're qualified for this project tech role. We start Monday. That's time saved and money earned.
Number 2, enhancing your career prospects. It's not just the cert on a wall, it's that keyword match in the job system, the HR manager who doesn't need to decode acronyms. When your resume says Certificate for in work health and safety, that hits like a green light in civilian hiring processes.
And number 3, confidence. There's a quiet relief that comes with formal recognition. It's that inner voice going, I wasn't imagining it. What I did matters, and I can carry it forward. You walk taller in an interview, and it shows.
Let's talk from barracks to boardroom with a couple scenarios. Say you were a section commander, people management, tick, conflict resolution, tick, training delivery, tick, risk assessment, tick, RPL maps, that to leadership and management, HR touchpoints, even project management units if you've planned and executed tasks with timelines, resources, and stakeholders.
Or you're a logistics NCO. You've handled procurement, storage, distribution, asset management. Translate that and you're looking at qualifications in business, procurement, and maybe even elements of government if you've navigated policy and compliance. The work is the same. The vocabulary changes.
Now we promised the how. What does the Defence RPL journey with 3CIR actually look like? Step 1 is a chat, a free RPL assessment where someone who speaks your language listens to your background. They'll ask for training records, quals, deployment reports, performance appraisals, references. Don't overthink it. They guide you through.
And don't stress if your documentation is dusty or half buried. This is where 3CIR's veteran team is clutch. They know what counts as evidence because they've seen it and done it. They'll help you gather the right proof without sending you on a wild goose chase. Sometimes a supervisor statement does the job. Sometimes your course report or logbook seals it.
Step 2, mapping. This is the behind-the-scenes magic. Your experience is matched against competency standards from nationally recognised qualifications. That means if you've been doing WHS in practice, the assessor ticks off those units. If there's a small gap, they'll tell you exactly what's missing and how to cover it. No guesswork.
Step 3, outcome and plan. You'll get a clear view, what you've achieved through RPL and if there's anything left to complete through short, top-ups or modules. The key is efficiency. You don't redo what you already know, you focus only on what's new.
Now, why 3CIR? Because not all providers are built equal. 3CIR stands out with real experience in defence transition. They get the nuances. Rank isn't a skill, but the responsibilities behind it are. Leading a team in the field doesn't always look like a corporate boardroom, but the competency is often stronger.
They've also got comprehensive course options. If your lane is security operations, there's a pathway. If you're leaning into management, business, WHS, project management, government, there are qualifications tailored to those domains. It's not a one-size-fits-all, it's a fit-for-purpose kit.
And this bit matters to me. Genuine recognition. The language from 3CIR is we honour your service. That's not a throwaway. It means the process is respectful. You're not made to feel like you have to prove you did anything exceptional just to be heard. Your time in uniform isn't treated like a weird hobby. It's valued and converted.
Plus, guided assistance. You're not left to navigate a maze with a napkin map. The analogy they use is spot on. Would you rather have a scribble on a serviette or a proper guide that's tailored to your terrain? 3CIR gives you the latter. The path is clear and you've got a team beside you.
Let's anchor this with a mini case story. A mate of mine, Navy, worked in engineering maintenance. He's got spreadsheets, shift rosters, fault-finding logs, and a mental map of every pipe and cable. He thought it wouldn't count because it wasn't corporate. Went through 3CIR's RPL, walked out with a qualification in project management components and WHS credits, then topped up a couple units. 3 months later, he's in a civilian facilities role. Same problem solving, better coffee.
That's the real-world pivot. And it's not just ADF. If you're in emergency services, fireys, ambos, police, your experience often maps into similar civilian quals. Not the same titles, but the same bones. Situational leadership, compliance, risk, communications under pressure.
Speaking of bones, let's circle back to evidence because we promised we'd lift the hood. What actually counts? Training transcripts, of course, but also incident reports you authored, SOPs you updated, toolbox talks you delivered, rosters you built, task lists you managed, hazard IDs you closed out, after action reviews with your name on them, even communications plans from exercises.
And if you're thinking, I was doing 1,000 things, how do I package it? Keep it simple. Timeline your roles, bullet the responsibilities in plain English, translate the acronyms. If you're stuck, the 3CIR team helps you decode it. They'll go, okay, that task you just described, that's resource allocation, that's stakeholder engagement, that's risk control. This is what that maps to.
What about gaps? Everyone worries they'll get told close, but not quite. 2 things. 1, RPL is often partial, which is normal. You might get 60-90% of a qualification through recognition, and then finish the rest with targeted learning, but short, sharp, relevant. 2, 3CIR doesn't leave you hanging. They'll tell you exactly how to fill those gaps, whether it's a quick unit or a small piece of evidence you can generate in your current role.
The biggest shift is mental. Stop thinking of your military time as other life. It's your competitive edge. If you can lead under pressure, plan with imperfect info, keep people safe, build cohesion, and deliver outcomes, you're already operating at a professional standard. RPL puts a frame around that picture so the civilian market sees what you see.
Let's talk career paths for a minute. If you're drawn to leadership, there are pathways through Cert I4 and diplomas in leadership and management. If safety jumps out, you've been that person who notices the left-hand hazard before it bites, work health and safety is a strong lane. Security and risk, your operational awareness is gold. Business and government, if you've navigated policy and compliance in service, the translation is surprisingly clean.
And for the planning nerds, yes, I'm looking at you with the color-coded whiteboard, project management can be a brilliant fit. If you've ever taken a task from briefing to closure with timelines, budgets, and a team, you're already speaking project. RPL just matches the dialect.
You can explore this stuff without committing your life away. Hit the free RPL assessment, have a yarn with the team, and see what your experience maps to. If you want a taste, 3CIR's also got a stack of short videos on leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, and project management. Quick insights, straight talk, no fluff.
I like those clips because they give you a feel for how the civvy world frames the topics you already know. You watch a WHS video and realize, hang on, this is just the risk matrix and mitigation hierarchy I've used for years, with a slightly different lingo.
Now, let's address the elephant. Isn't this just a piece of paper? My answer? It's a key. The door isn't opening without it in many industries. You've done the work, the qualification gets you through the first gate. HR screening, licensing, compliance. After that, the interviews, the real talk. That's your playground.
And because some of you love the checklist, here's the quick RPL value recap in civvy speak. Time saved, you're not redoing work. Money saved, fewer modules, fewer fees. Career boost, your resume speaks employer language. Confidence, you stop downplaying your contributions. Respect, your service is recognized formally, not taken for granted.
I want to push into identity again because we get messages every week from people who say, I don't know how to introduce myself anymore. Here's a practical tip. Write a 2-sentence story that starts with your impact, like I lead teams in high-pressure environments to deliver safe, reliable outcomes. I'm recognized for risk management and clear communication. That's your opener. Then drop the qualification and the roles. The order matters.
That's gold. Another tip, keep a mini evidence pack handy. Digital folder with your course records, a couple of supervisor statements, and a short summary of key tasks and achievements. Update it as you go. When you're ready to do RPL with 3CR, you're not hunting through boxes at midnight.
Anything you wish you'd known when you started your transition, Slate?
That civvy employers value clarity. If I said I was in charge of a section, some folks nodded politely. If I said I managed a team of 9, trained them to standard, implemented safety controls, and delivered tasks on deadline with 0 incidents, eyes lit up. Same thing, different framing. RPL helps lock that framing in and back it with proof.
I wish I'd known that it's okay to feel out of place at first. That feeling passes when you start seeing your own value on paper. First time I saw a qualification next to my name that wasn't military, I had this little surge of, yeah, okay, I belong here too. That's underrated.
Let's demystify the 3CIR support piece a bit more. You're not getting a generic call center. You're talking to veteran professionals who've guided heaps of transitions. They'll be straight with you. If your experience maps to a diploma, they'll say it. If it's a Cert I4 with a couple of top-ups, they'll say that too. Integrity is one of those 5 tenets for a reason.
And camaraderie isn't just a buzzword either. There's a real sense of we've got your back. You shouldn't have to navigate this alone, especially at a time when you're juggling family, a new routine, maybe a job hunt, maybe a move. Having a clear path, that's worth more than a dozen motivational quotes.
Quick myth busting. Myth 1. RPL is just for officers. Wrong. RPL is about competence, not rank. Myth 2. If I didn't do a fancy course, I'm out. Wrong again, experience counts. Your rotations, tasks, and responsibilities often cover the competencies. Myth 3, it's a paperwork nightmare. With the right guide, it's structured and manageable. That's the 3CIR difference.
And if you're thinking, I'm still serving, is this for me? You can start planning now. The assessment can give you a roadmap so you can gather evidence while you're still in. That way, when you step out, you're not starting cold. You're walking into the next chapter with credentials in hand.
We should talk about mindset shifts for the boardroom. The military reward structure is different. In civvy life, you sometimes have to state your impact clearly, not as bragging, but as data. RPL begins that shift. You practice describing outcomes in civilian language. That skill pays off in interviews and in the job.
Example, don't say I supported, say I delivered. Don't say I was involved with, say I led, coordinated, implemented, you did it. Own it, then back it with numbers when you can. Team size, budgets, incident rates, deadlines met. Those metrics, paired with your qualification, cut through noise.
Let's touch on fields beyond the obvious. Marketing? If you've briefed teams, communicated change, or shaped behaviour under time pressure, you've done elements of persuasion and messaging. Government? If you've implemented policies and reported against standards, you speak that language. Video resources from 3CIR cover these areas so you can see how your experience naturally connects.
If you're someone who likes to tinker before committing, watch those short videos after this episode, see what resonates, then book that free RPL assessment and just have the conversation. There's no trapdoor underneath you. It's literally a chat where someone helps you spot value you might be missing.
A lot of folks ask, what's the fastest way to get started? Honestly, grab your service record, list your courses and deployments, and write down the 3 biggest problems you solved and how you solved them. Bring that to the assessment. That's a strong starting point.
And if you're a visual thinker, imagine your experience as a map. You've spent years navigating complex terrain. 3CIR gives you a high-quality guidebook matched to your terrain, not a scribbled napkin. That's time saved, wrong turns avoided, and less stress.
Let's do a lightning round of roles and potential pathways. Communications specialist? Think ICT support, project coordination, risk and governance elements with RPL into business or project management units. Infantry or cavalry team leads, leadership and management, WHS, security operations. Logistics, business, procurement, supply chain foundations. Medic, elements of WHS leadership, training and assessment pathways depending on scope. Military police, security and risk, investigation elements, leadership.
For each of those, the point isn't to shoehorn you into a box. It's to show you that there are matches out there, and with RPL, you're not starting at zero. You're stepping onto a moving escalator that you've already paid for with sweat equity.
And if you're hearing this and thinking, I'm not ready, that's okay, bookmark it. When you are ready, the door's open. 3CIR's been doing this because our community deserves a smoother path. That commitment isn't going anywhere.
Before we wrap, a quick word to families listening. If you've got a partner or parent going through transition, share this episode with them. Sometimes the hardest part is knowing where to begin. A nudge, a conversation, a link to the free assessment. That can change the week.
Speaking of links, hit the 3CIR site and look for the free RPL assessment form. It's straightforward and it kickstarts your roadmap. If you want to speak to a human, a veteran human, reach out through the contact page. Real people, real answers.
And check out the videos we mentioned: leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management. There are bite-sized sessions that can help you connect the dots between your past and your future.
One last insight before closing. The moment you stop seeing RPL as asking for permission and start seeing it as claiming what you've already earned, the whole process feels different. It's not a favor you're requesting, it's a translation you're entitled to.
That's the spirit. You've already done the miles. 3CIR just makes sure the map matches the ground. And if you want a bit of accountability, tell a mate what you're aiming for and a specific qualification or role and work toward it together. Camaraderie doesn't end with your posting.
All right, that's us for today. We covered Defence RPL, why it matters, how 3CIR stands out with experience, comprehensive courses, genuine recognition and guided assistance, and how this all feeds your time, money, career momentum, and confidence. If you've been thinking about it, take the next step.
Next episode, we're zeroing in on exactly why military RPL from 3CIR is a great option with a no-jargon walkthrough of the free RPL assessment. We'll even pull up the form itself, the one at 3CIR.com/services/RPL-assessment-form, and walk you through what to expect, So you can hit submit with confidence.
Bring your questions. We'll tackle the tricky ones, like what happens if your evidence is thin in one area, or how to juggle RPL with a full-time job and a family calendar that looks like air tasking orders.
You've got this. We're with you. And 3CIR's got your back with courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, and respect.
I'm Slate.
I'm Jury.
Keep moving forward, claim what you've earned, and we'll catch you next time.
Talk soon, legends.